We are going to start off chapter 14, which is kinetics, talking about the different factors that make a reaction go more quickly, which is really the main point of this chapter, that and looking at mechanisms, how a reaction actually proceeds, how many steps. But to begin with, let's look at some of the factors that affect reaction rates. And the first one would be the state. And we don't mean like solid, liquid, or gas. But let me just finish this part. State of reactants. And we are specifically talking about the reactants. In this case, when we say state, we're really referring to the surface area. So think like a powder has more surface area than like a rock. A rock only has the outside surface. All that interior space isn't exposed for a reaction to take place. But if you break it into a powder, all of that surface area is exposed and able to react. So that's what we're referring to when we say state. The next thing is concentration. The higher the concentration of the reactant, the more particles are available to collide with each other, and the reaction rate will go more quickly. Third thing is temperature. For temperature, the higher the temperature, the more energy the particles have, the more effective collisions that they are going to have. And the last one is a catalyst. A catalyst sometimes gets the wrong impression. They say, well, it makes the reaction more quickly. Yes and no, it does. It does. The reaction does go more quickly. But really what it does is, it's not, actually we're usually referring to the activation energy. It lowers the activation energy. It does not. It provides a different pathway that happens to have a lower activation energy. So a different pathway, lower activation energy. Okay, let's break into equations. So the general idea we're referring to is A as a reactant turning into B. So very, very simple equation we're going to look at here. So A turning into B. And we're looking at the average rate of, in this particular case, the disappearance of A. And we can write that out saying negative change in concentration. Those brackets around A symbolize concentration over the change in time. So we're looking at, again, rates. So we're looking at A specifically, and negative sign just implies the disappearance. So it's going away, it's going down. And looking at change in concentration with the change of time is a rate. Now, seeing how things kind of would relate to each other, let's look at another understanding here, the stoichiometry of how the rates of different things would compare. So stoichiometry and reaction rates. So we'll use an equation as an example. In this particular example, we'll see this one pop up a few different times. The disappearance of hydrogen iodide forming, I just want to write the hydrogen first, H2 plus I2. So looking at the disappearance of the hydrogen iodide into hydrogen gas and iodine. So how the rates compare to each other. And we'll talk about this here in a second. So 1/2 minus negative the change in the concentration of HI over its time is equal to the change positive in the concentration of hydrogen with its change in time equal to positive change in concentration of I2 with its time. So what we're looking at as far as the equation is the coefficient values become inverse values. So it has to do with like, this is disappearing at twice the rate of the appearance of these two. In order to have them set equal to each other, we have to include half of the rate. So normally, again, this is lost twice the rate. So therefore, to make them equal, I have to make 1/2. So very simply, we just take the inverse value and it all works out. Now, of course, if this was a 3, then this would be 1/3 and so on. That's how they would relate to each other being equal. Okay. So just a general format, how we can put this together would be, this is just a idea, just throwing some variables together. This is going to look a little bit complicated here in just a moment. So again, how the rates would compare. Disappearance of A based on the coefficient. It's a little tedious writing all this. Trying to squeeze this all in. And it looks like we'll make it. There we go. So based on the disappearance of the two reactants and the appearance of the two products. And again, they're all equal to each other. So the setup is the coefficients become inverse. And then, of course, based on the different reactants or products, change in concentration over change in time. Okay, that part's done. New concept we're going to introduce here is talking specifically about concentration and rate law. So our first introduction to a rate law. And what this looks at is how a reactant specifically behaves in making a reaction go more quickly. And it has to be determined experimentally. So we'll get to more of that here shortly. We already wrote this equation here, so I'm not going to rewrite that. But if I wanted to say, let's write a rate law for it, I would say the rate is equal to K, which is a constant, I'll come to that in just a moment, times the concentration of A to some exponential value times the concentration of B to some other exponential value. So again, looking at this equation here, you may be thinking, well, hold on a second, what are we raising these to? We have to determine this experimentally, these exponential values. And it's going to be in some whole number, typically either 0, 1, or 2, but it could be even higher as far as how it behaves. But it's going to be some whole number value that, again, we have to determine experimentally. If this was a 2, then by doubling the concentration, the reaction would go 4 times faster. And we'll see examples going through. The value K, we'll write this in here, is the rate constant. And it is specific to temp, or it's temperature dependent. So this value is a constant. It does not change. It's a constant. And it doesn't really have any life of its own. Really what it represents is the relationship between the rate and these concentrations raised up to their values. And again, at some specific temperature. Change the temperature, the whole thing changes. So again, if I have a very large rate constant, really what it's referring to is how fast the reaction proceeds. So that's kind of what I can look at as far as what sense can I make out of this value. And we have to determine also experimentally. But if I know what this is, and if I know what that value is, usually it's an indication to how fast the reaction is going, because this is in the numerator. This over these two factors will give me an idea how fast the reaction is going to proceed. All right, this is a pretty good place to take a break, and then we'll start off with some problems.